how's everybody? How you doing?
Everybody's well. You can say
Okay.
hello to, we have, I can't tell how many people we have on, but we have a bunch of people on, including Dr. Joy. I was just telling our friends what a wonderful self-care session we had this past Sunday with Dr.
Yes.
Joy.
Yes.
And she's here with us now.
Hi, Dr. Joy.
Yep. And I was telling them that, you know, we are in the middle of our 2-part series on self-care, and that this coming Sunday, I wasn't about to tell them who our guest was until you were here.
Okay.
And because I announced it on Sunday, I'm going to let you announce our guest for this coming Sunday.
Well, this coming Sunday, we've got I call her the Grand Bee because she's the Queen Bee's mom. So we have the Grand Bee, Tina Knowles, is with us for Sunday of this week. So we're really glad to have her and have a real motherly conversation, self-care conversation. Mm-hmm.
Yes, that's beautiful. So, you know, I have been asking people to just sort of share their ideas of or their definition of self-care. And we've had some really nice responses come through. I'm going to scroll through here and see if there are any specific questions that.
Are you scrolling? How do you scroll? You know how to do? Who taught you how to do that?
Okay, so Iyanla, if I can do it, trust me, you can do it. If I can do it. I wish that I could do it without my glasses, but I think those days are gone.
I was trying to get the phone in the little thingy and it wouldn't go in there. So I have my own experience. Yeah.
So do you see the names at the bottom of your screen?
I do. Yes, I see. Hello. I see Pray at Walmart. Thank you. She said we are beautiful. Cut your ties. She is a sellout. Oh, I guess that would be me.
Oh, no.
That's okay. You know what? I am too old to care about what people have to say about me because the only one I have to answer to is my creator. And I'm still here, so that means he ain't finished with me yet.
Well, you know what?
Hello, beloved.
And here's something else that I think is important, because when we are quick to make judgments about people that we don't know, we have to ask ourselves, what is that and what's behind that? When people there's so much going on in a person's life. There's so much going on that you have absolutely no idea about. And for us to jump to conclusions or judgments, it's not just that it is, and I mean this word without any attack, but it's ignorant, meaning not having enough information. Because if you had enough information, you might not be quite so quick to draw conclusions and opinions. And when it comes,
even if you have a conclusion and an opinion, wisdom says there's an appropriate way to share. We're in a public forum. People are, coming in. We're talking about self-care and your contribution to self-care. She's a sellout. And you don't know, I don't know if she's talking about me, you, I don't know who she's talking about.
It doesn't really matter.
It doesn't matter.
But yeah.
But here's what I know. I know in 1963, when I was a little black girl in Brooklyn with a 1/4 inch of hair on my head, and they bussed me to the white school in Flatbush, and grown white people spit in my face and called me a nigger. My black was beautiful back then. Yes. My black didn't get beautiful in 2020.
Yes.
My black has been beautiful since 1964 when I was dancing with my sister at the World's Fair with Michael Babatunde Olatunji. You understand?
Yes.
And I understood who my ancestors were and what my culture and my lineage was.
Yes.
I've been black a long time.
Yes.
So whatever it is that, people want to make up about me, that's on them. That ain't on me. Because you can't talk me out of my history. You can't talk me out of my culture. You can't talk me out of my tradition. You can't talk me out of my identity. I am Iyanla. That's who I am. That's not what I do.
Yes.
I am Iyanla.
Yes. Yeah. So, I love that. And I would encourage our viewers to take a moment and type in what makes your Black beautiful.
Yeah.
My Black is beautiful. And for us to put our attention there, put our attention on what makes us wonderful, more often we will be able to extend that kind of appreciation to others. Because we just do what we've been taught to do. And our society right this moment is full of a lot of bad habits. So we can begin right this moment just thinking about my Black is beautiful.
Black is beautiful. My Black is beautiful because that's who I am.
Yeah.
It's not what I do.
Yeah.
I earned my Blackness. Okay?
Yes.
I earned it.
Yes.
I earned it by honoring my ancestors who picked cotton. I picked cotton in Smithfield, Virginia in the summers. I earned my Black, and it is beautiful, and it's gorgeous.
Yes.
And that's how I'm going to sit in there. My Black is beautiful because I share, love, and teach. Yes. Why is your Black beautiful? And how do we honor the Black women that came before us and the Black men that came before us? We don't honor them when we denigrate and dismiss and deny each other. Yeah.
So I'm gonna share a story. And it's actually in my book, but the story is that I woke up. It was a yearning that started to grow inside of me, and I kept knowing that there was something more that I wanted for my life, and it wasn't more out there because my career was building. Things were fine in terms of the career, but there was something inside that felt missing. And as I yearned for it, a really interesting thing happened. The more I yearned, the more I began to see the kinds of behavior I was participating in inside of myself that was blocking my ability to step into that greater feeling that I was yearning for.
Yeah.
And so I think that is a way for us to sort of monitor and look at and define self-care in that we're talking about self-care. Self-care, my Black is beautiful, is being courageous enough to see yourself and recognize the parts of you that are no longer serving you. No longer serving the idea.
That's how you earn your Black. That's how you earn it, by doing the work to bring your inner light out, by doing the work to embrace. I'm a Black woman, but I embrace everybody. I embrace everything because my grandmother's Native American. You understand? And my great-grandmother was a Cuban. So I have to embrace women in general. That's how you earn your Black. That's how you earn your beauty. Not that there's anything you have to do for it, but just that, when you stand in what it represents, that's how you earn it. Not that it's not a doing, it's a being. Yes, my Black is beautiful. So they're talking about it now. So my Black is beautiful because I see my flaws. Yeah, that's how you gotta own it. Yeah, my Black is beautiful because God chose me in spite of my flaws. That's what I'm talking about. That's how you earn it. To know that and to stand in that. And
my Black is beautiful because I reach and want more of myself. I want to move into that better iteration of myself. That makes my Black beautiful.
Absolutely. And that's how we just accepting all of that. And because I don't see Black as a color.
Right.
I don't see Black as a color. I see it as a consciousness.
Right.
It's a consciousness for me. Everybody can define it the way they are. My Black is beautiful because I understand and embrace and live my culture. I understand and embrace my history.
Yes.
I understand and embrace my responsibility to those who paved the path before us. My grandmother was a domestic. She cleaned houses and cooked food and washed floors and scrubbed toilets. I don't have a right. I don't have the right or the privilege not to honor her life by making the most of my life.
Absolutely.
I don't have the privilege to
That's right.
sit around, because if I had to scrub floors with a scrub brush on my knees every day, I would be weeping. But
Yeah.
she did, and I'm sure all of us have in our life women and men who did what they needed to do so that we could go to school, so that we could own an apartment. Can you imagine my grandmother and her mother, that they lived in a one room with 13, 14 people?
Yeah.
Okay.
For
And we
sure.
got
For sure.
condos and townhouses, and we complain. We don't have that right. We don't have that privilege. So that's how we earn our blackness. That's how we earn our way of being. And that's really how we take care of ourselves. I think the worst thing that ever happened to me was when I didn't understand who I was as a Chislaki woman, as a Cherokee woman. I didn't understand that. So when they were teaching me craziness in school about the Indians, not the Native Americans, the Indians, I didn't know. And I took that on because I didn't know my culture, my history, and my language. But because can you imagine in the 50s how hard it was to be Black? Do you know how hard it was to be a Native American?
Right.
My grandmother looked like this, but she was a Native person. So it wasn't until I learned my culture, my history, my language as a Chislaki, as a Cherokee woman, a member of the Cherokee Nation. So I'm Black and Native, African and Native American. That's a lot.
That's a lot of culture. That's a lot of beauty. That's a lot of history. That's a lot of resilience. That's a lot.
Yeah, it's a lot
that you can tap into. That's a beautiful thing. And I feel the same way when you talk about your Black being a consciousness and your Black being not
culture.
Just about a culture and not just about a specific race. I think it's really important that we all take time to include the human race in our conversations, because so often the very thing that we are the racism, the unconscious blinding racism that we are so oftentimes focused on is the very thing that is keeping us from recognizing the oneness and the sameness that we have, because we all have the same nervous system.
Right.
We human beings are the same, and when we begin to recognize and honor that more, then we'll be able to step in and stop with this foolishness around race, which is a whole made up thing anyway, and get to the heart of life and living.
Well, we are, I think I sense, I don't know it to be true, that this, I want to say this opportunity, this healing opportunity called the corona.
Yes. I love the way you say that, the corona.
I think that it is taking us there because clearly it has brought to the surface, the most vulnerable, and how we have not cared for the most vulnerable, the poor, the elderly, people of color in depressed experiences. We have not taken care of them because we don't see the oneness. And, it's important that we understand that whatever happens to the least of us happens to all of us.
Absolutely.
And that's why I always say, I am not my sister's keeper. I am my sister. So I learned many, many years ago, a couple of things you will never hear me do. I'll never call another woman out of her name. Never, never, never. I will never do that because I wouldn't want that done to me. I had to learn the hard way. I would never sleep with my sister's husband.
Yes.
I had to learn that the hard way.
Yes. Yes.
Oh, you flipped around, Tina.
Oh, did I? Oh, thank you.
We're looking at your plant in your water.
How do I get it back? How do I get it back? I don't want you to see my dirty house. Oh, here, let me see.
Yes, okay. There you are. Yeah. And you'll know you back again. You're gone again. I see your chair. Isn't it lovely working from home? It's just so lovely.
Yes.
Oh, I don't know why.
Okay.
There you are. There
All
you are.
right.
Yeah.
Thank
And
you.
so I would never do that. And I would never diminish another woman's experience.
Yes.
You know, how we, oh, get over it. Because, you know, as women, we have such huge hearts. And sometimes we're not taught to honor our heart. So we give it away frivolously or foolishly, and then we get hurt. And that hurt is real, you know? So those are things that I would never do. And that's a part of self-care. Taking care of you, Tina, is a part of my self-care. Making sure that my sister is okay.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
Is a part of my self-care.
Yes.
So I don't have to hide from you and run from you, and I don't have to you know, worry about you, to do what I can for you. And with you. That's a part of my self-care, because I am my sister.
I love that. And I'm going to riff on that, in that part of my self-care is to make sure that I can learn to be with my own feelings, so that I can be a space for my sister to share her feelings without trying to manage them for her. Just being a safe place where she can be herself to the degree that she needs to be herself to heal or move on.
Yeah. I think that it's important that we know who the self is. And I think so many of us sometimes, we may be into the physical beauty, but not into the beauty and the power of self. And that's my prayer, particularly for women, because I believe this is our time. You know, I do believe this is our time as women, as feminine energy on the planet, that we really learn who we are. We're not what we have. We're not what we do. And really, I hope that's what the corona has taught us, because this thing has leveled the playing field. I was talking to Miss Oprah the other day, and I said, you know what makes me happy about this? She said, what? I said, you know what, you, Bill Gates, Mark Zuckerberg, all of y'all with all your money, can't none of y'all get no toilet paper.
Exactly.
You can't even pay somebody to go get you no toilet paper, because if there ain't no toilet paper, there just ain't no toilet paper. So it has leveled the playing field. You know, that maybe the people who are working in the meat factory, they can't work, but neither can Beyonce. Or you know, all of us. Look at our whole industry is shut down.
That's right.
Movies. This thing has leveled the playing field, so that, and I hope that us home, are getting clearer about the self, who we are. You know, I've gotten real clear about who I am. Look, I had to cut my nails off.
But you know that they'll grow back.
Well, the only thing that grows faster than that is this little chin hair on my chin. That'll grow back faster. So, you know, so
why don't we ask our audience to share with us their definitions of self-care, because the self, as you said, Iyanla, the self, so many of us aren't even aware that there is a thing called, now you want to
wait a minute.
Okay.
I got to put I got to plug my phone in.
Okay. So, but
doing.
many people aren't aware that there is a self inside of these bodies. You know? And it's important for us to be aware that when it comes to the self, we're talking about the self in terms of our hearts, in terms of our thoughts, in terms of our emotions, in terms of our needs, in terms of our fears, to be able to listen to what is going on inside, to acknowledge what is going on inside, and then dare to love self enough to do what you need to do to tend to those inner needs. You know?
Why don't we open it up and see if they have not only a definition?
I just saw one.
Self-care.
I'm practicing peace, inner peace, to stop worrying about the things that I cannot control, but to provide self-care internally. It keeps going away. My mind, my body, my spirit, my needs, etc.
Yeah. And if you have any questions, put that in the thread too. We're gonna go through there. Any questions that you'd like us to answer for you. I'd like you all to answer. You know, when I do these, self-care is recognizing toxicity and staying away from it.
Yeah.
Self-care is my relationship with the Almighty. Yeah. So somebody said, I was so consumed in my career and competing that I lost myself. So the quarantine has allowed me to recognize the self that needed care. Oh, that's beautiful. That's really beautiful. I'm working on getting back in touch, you know, and hopefully we won't go back out in the world doing it like we used to do it. I know I won't go back in the world doing it like I used to do it. And I thought I was doing good.
Yeah.
But all you got to do is get still and you'll get real clear. Yeah, I mean, I was doing good with my self-time, my self-care, and just managing. But when I stopped totally, I realized how really busy I was. Because anytime you're so busy that the people you love say, you know, I know you're busy. I didn't want to call you. What are you talking about? Call me.
What if wanting to take care of your own needs comes before others?
It has to, because you can't give what you don't have. And too many of us give from half a cup. We give from half a cup fill, you know, and that means that you're robbing yourself. Yeah. So can a broken heart take on physical form? Absolutely, it can. I swear my heart hurts from so many disappointments. Well, let's look at not the hurt heart. Let's look at the disappointment, because disappointments are the results of expectations that aren't met. So my question would be, were your expectations clearly communicated? Because sometimes we have expectations, but we don't communicate them. And then when they don't get met, we get disappointed. So I would say, first of all, were your expectations of people, of things, were they communicated clearly? And the second thing I would say about disappointments, not about the hurts, because you can change the hurt, you know? The other thing I would say about the disappointments is, have you learned to forgive and surrender? Because if you did communicate your expectations, and if other people didn't honor their commitments, their agreements, and that led to a disappointment, then your work is to forgive. So there's a way out, no matter what you do. I would say, ask yourself, your creator, however you do it, you know, what did this come to teach me? What did this come to teach me? What was my assignment here? What was it that I needed to learn? Why this thing showed up in my life, you know? So that's what I would say about that.
What I love about that is that you're right. We can all put our the destiny of our hearts and minds in our own hands when we dare to use every single event that takes place in our lives to grow us. And when we use it against ourselves, that's one of those lies I talk about. You know, whenever we use any event to define us as broken, not good enough, or left out in some way, we have taken on a perspective that is against ourselves, and that's a lie. And we have to go in and clean up that lie inside of ourselves.
Somebody asked a very delicious question here, and it says, how do you surrender completely?
That is a beautiful question.
Not have to surrender, Well, first of all, I think it's important for people to understand what surrender is. You know, surrender isn't giving over or giving up. Surrender isn't giving in or giving up. It's giving over. It's giving over. It's removing all expectations. It's removing all requirements and demands. It's really trusting that everything is. Surrender is a form of acceptance. You don't have to like it. You don't have to call it in, but you really have to work on acceptance. So surrender says, can I just let this be? Can I just let this be without fixing it or changing it? Can I accept what it is right now and just let it be and give it over? And then you can call forth your lesson. I think surrender is also a discipline, because it's a muscle that you have to build so that you don't have to think about it. You know, let me surrender. Okay, I surrender. I surrender. I surrender. And when you do that, when you surrender, then you're open to a greater possibility. But holding on, insisting that it's your way, that's not going to turn out well for you.
Right. So I just saw something that hopefully I can grab it. I'm hurt. God took my mother. I am disappointed. She raised me to trust him, and I feel that I can't. Sorry, it just keeps going away. But I think that I can't in my hurt. So,
Wow.
yeah.
I don't understand. I hear you, beloved. I hear you, but I want to say to you, are you open to the possibility that you're thinking in error?
Yeah.
You're thinking in error. God took my mother. No, that was God's daughter.
Mm.
Her being your mother was her privilege, not yours. It's a privilege to be a mother. It's a blessing to have a mother. But since the blessing is bestowed upon you, you don't get to say how long it stays. Just be open to the possibility, beloved, that your thinking is wrong. What it feels like to me is that you are mourning instead of grieving. Because grieving is a natural, organic process. There are stages to grief, and you go through all of them. But time heals all wounds in grieving. But when you're mourning, when you're stuck in either what you're missing because that's gone, or what you can't do because that's gone, or what you should have done before that's gone, or what you won't do because that's gone, that's mourning. That's the black shroud with the head down. That's a completely different thing. And you can get stuck in mourning, whereas grieving unfolds naturally. You'll always feel it, but you don't get stuck there as often. So I would say to you, beloved, be open to the possibility that your thinking is in error, that your mother was God's daughter, and you don't get to tell a father what to do with his child. You don't get to do that. Also, that being your mother was her privilege. It was your blessing. And you don't get to say what the nature of the blessing is. And also, I would really encourage you, if you are in that deep place of mourning and it sounds like stuck in the anger of it, reach out for some help. Reach out for some help. There are wonderful therapists, Dr. Joy, she has a whole list. Reach out for some help, because you don't want to be stuck there. And that is not honoring your mother. That does not honor your mother for you to be mad at God. Yeah.
Amen.
Yeah. And a woman. A man
Amen.
and a woman. Yeah.
Yes, they're
So,
saying mourning instead of grieving. Yeah.
yes, people don't understand. I'm speaking from a spiritual perspective, not a psychological perspective. Grieving is a natural organic process. There are stages. There's the shock, and there's the anger, and there's the bargaining, and there's finally you get to acceptance. Mourning is another thing. Mourning is an emotional depression that feeds on regret and remorse. And like I said, what you can't do and what you won't do. So we want to get out of the mourning as quickly as possible and allow ourselves to grieve. That's a good thing. Yeah. So what do we have? Okay, I see something here.
Someone says you're speaking to all of me right now. Thank you. Thank you for clearing that up. Thank you for clarifying the difference between those two feelings. This is good stuff. Yeah.
Somebody asked a question too. I was trying to hold on to it. It says, how to effectively train my mind when I have negative thought patterns triggered by the same person. Let me tell you something. The mind is a wonderful, 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 wonderful tool. But baby, it is unmanageable. If you leave that thing by itself for too long, it is gone off the deep end, surely enough, yeah? So it's not about so much training. Yeah, I guess it is about training the mind. And that's where your meditation comes in, yeah? That's where what you put in, your reading, what you take in, that's where that comes in. The thing, but the training the mind is not about the triggers. The triggers are a whole nother animal. Triggers are unhealed places within yourself, places where you're still holding on to ill and art and grief and hurt and victimization and sorrow and sadness. And your triggers are your responsibility. You have to go in and look at, where am I still holding grievances? Where am I still holding art? Where am I still nursing hurt? So that you can then release those triggers, and then it doesn't matter what comes at you. It doesn't matter what comes at you. If it doesn't pull the trigger, if you don't have the trigger, it can't be pulled. So the thing is not so much about training the mind as it is about identifying your triggers. Look for where you are nursing old wounds, where you're holding on to old upsets, where you are still looking for apology or, acknowledgement. Somebody poked you in the eye and they never said, I'm sorry. So you still holding on to that. Your eye, you can see, go on with yourself.
But the beauty of what you're saying is that you don't have to live in that stuck place forever.
No.
If in fact you want to be free, then now is the time to start asking for freedom. And sometimes what that looks like is literally just asking, okay, God, how do I get free? How do I move from where I am into a place where I can see the things that Iyanla is saying?
Yeah.
So
not me. I'm just sharing with you, the teachings that I've had. These are universal teachings. These are
for sure
spiritual principles and tenets. So we just want to start to master them. If I could say anything, because we got about 5 minutes before they cut off the live feed. Can I just say this? And I think there's a lot of women here on with us. This is what I've learned. This may not be true for you, but I, as a woman, was so miseducated. Even with all my culture and I was so miseducated. First of all, about my inherent power as a woman. Second of all, about my duties and responsibilities to myself as a woman. And then about what is and isn't possible for me as a woman. And when I realized how out of order I was out of order. Out of order. Oh, I would read you in a minute, and just such a much. I was just such a much. And I was out of order. And I had to re-educate myself. I had to unlearn a lot of stuff. And that would be my prayer for all of my sister women. Unlearn and re-educate beyond your job, your career. Tina, I got so many degrees, I don't even know where they're at. And none of them help me.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
What helped me was an intimate relationship with the God of my understanding.
That's right.
And
That's
bringing
right.
myself into alignment with universal law. That's what got me on track. So ladies, just check and see if you out of order, how you living, how you being, how you treating yourself. And if you are, unlearn and reteach. I'm gonna let you have the final word, Miss Tina.
Well, you know, if in fact your peace is disturbed, if you find yourself in upset, if you are resentful, if you are feeling left out, if you are feeling jealous, if you are feeling any sort of feeling that makes you feel disconnected from your innate worth and thriving nature, then there's work that you can do. And that work is called self-care.
Yeah.
That is the kind of self-care that we're talking about. That's the kind of self-care that on Sundays, and this coming Sunday, May the 3rd at 4 p.m. Pacific and 7 o'clock Eastern, you can log on to www.lovefromadistance.info, and you can be in this conversation with the wonderful people that we have the honor to call our dear and worthy guests.
Yeah.
This coming Sunday, our dear and worthy guest, as Iyanla has said, is Tina Knowles Lawson. That is, you know, Beyonce and Solange's mom. We are truly looking forward to that conversation. I think we are really fortunate that we are living in, you say that this is the time of the woman.
Yeah.
And there's so much evidence, Iyanla, and just here in our life, the evidence is that we have a partnership, a sponsorship with My Black is Beautiful, who recognizes that this is the time of the woman. And who is pouring into women of color in ways that affirm our innate beauty, our innate possibility, and the fact that we are all birthed by a God to thrive. And if you're not thriving, then come on, join us on Sundays, you know, follow us on Instagram. Iyanla, what's your Instagram name?
Iyanla Vanzant.
Yeah, Iyanla Vanzant. That's easy.
Can I give an assignment?
Please.
I give an assignment?
Please.
Because I've noticed it in this thread. So I want to challenge you on this thread that become mindful of when you start your sentence by telling what's wrong. Yeah. It's hard for me too. I have never so-and-so. No matter how hard I try, just become mindful of that, because that assignment is going to start training your mind, because it says then that you are creating with your words. Your mouth is a womb, and what comes out of it are the things that you birth. So start being mindful of what you write when you start with the problem. And when you see yourself do that, say cancel, and rework it. Change the syntax so that you are not putting out first the problem and the very thing that you say you want to get rid of. Because I've seen it in this thread. You don't know how hard, and I've tried. And no. Be intentional and be clear. And when you put out something in the world that you don't want to give birth to, cancel it. Get it out. Because you're hypnotizing yourself. You're putting a curse on yourself. It's so hard, no matter how hard. No.
If you want another awesome video in our Black Excellence series, check out the video right there next to me. I think you'll enjoy it. Continue to believe, and I'll see you there.